Hey, it's Time at the Butcher for Wise Guys Barbecue, back with another video. Who's your best friend in the kitchen? Your knife. Who's your worst enemy in the kitchen? Your knife. I'm about to explain why. But before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you will not miss an episode. Stick around because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. All right, we're gonna do something a little bit different today, but before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to Kaylee. She's assistant for today. She works with us here at Wise Guys Barbecue. And you know, I've been around knives professionally for 50 years. I've always respected them. I'm gonna show you some ideas that you can practice at home. It's not a cure, but it'll prevent nice sharp knives from dulling, because a dull knife is your worst enemy in the kitchen. You're gonna end up with accidents, you're gonna end up cutting yourself because it will not work with you, it works against you. Now, as far as a home cook is concerned, there are 3 knives, and that's a chef's knife. Now they come in different lengths. This happens to be an 8-inch chef knife. This is a 10-inch. Your second workhorse knife at home should be a paring knife. And these you can use for peeling, for coring. And then the third knife everybody should have is your typical bread knife. It's a serrated knife. These knives, in my opinion, are the ones that are gonna be most reliable, most dependable, but more importantly, most affordable. And if you're gonna look for a knife, I highly, highly recommend either Mercer or Victorinox. Now, both of these you can find on Amazon.com. 3 areas that we're gonna touch upon: storage, it involves cleaning, and it involves cutting surfaces. Thanks, Kaylee. First of all, before I get to that, this is a steel. Most everybody thinks it'll sharpen your knife. It will not. This is actually a honing steel. It's not a sharpening steel. They come with almost every knife kit you get. And what this does, if you have a very sharp knife, after some period of time when you're cutting it, little by little, that edge is gonna dull and it's gonna begin to round. And it's gonna form little burrs. So all this thing does is take a sharp knife, which needs an edge, and it restores the edge to that sharp knife. If it's dull, this isn't gonna do a damn thing. You need to get your knife sharp. Let's talk about storage. I know a lot of people have these types of knife blocks at home. I actually got this for my wedding in 1991. Everybody puts their knives in, you know, hey, put our knives in, here we go. But every time you put that knife in that block and it's vertical, that edge is gonna continually come into contact with the bottom of this slot. So you're gonna get constant friction, constant friction. Over time, that's gonna wear that edge down. You're gonna lose the edge of that knife. One simple thing you can do at home, you can do it in a heartbeat. It's not gonna cost you a nickel. Take your knives, flip them in upside down. That's all there is to it. Simple fix, very easy. The only challenge of this is getting into that habit, getting into that repetition and doing this all the time. The other area, and I know a lot of people do this, they take all their knives, they open up a knife drawer, they just throw them all in there. So if you're gonna throw them in a drawer, they do have organized wooden racks that work nice. If you don't feel like spending the money for those, you can get something very, very inexpensive. And these you can find on Amazon, and what they are, it's a sheath. They're magnetized in the middle, and they're a nice flexible rubber on the outside. You take your knife, you place it in, and immediately it'll stick. You just fold it over. Now, if you want to really get thrifty and you don't want to purchase those, just take an ordinary dishcloth. We call them mopines here in Rhode Island. You just open it up, place your knife in it, and just wrap it around. And you can stick it in your drawer like this, or you can get an elastic, place it over the outside. Cleaning. Don't put any of your good knives, don't put them in a dishwasher. You want to hand wash them in the sink. Above all, and I live with somebody who's got a bad habit of doing this, I'll see my nice boning knives in there and she'll just throw them in like that. Now, did you hear that noise? Every time you do that, you're gonna dull that point. Don't stick them in anything. Don't put them vertical in any container or in the sink or anything. Lay them flat, or better yet, clean them right away and then lay them off to the side so that they can dry on their own. Cutting surface. You want to be using porous surfaces basically. So either wood, or they have these composite plastic cutting boards. These work well. One wood you want to stay away from is bamboo. Bamboo is too hard. The worst thing you can possibly do is cut on anything steel, anything metal, anything glass. Use a steak knife, use something, a utility knife that you don't really care about. Don't use your countertop, don't use granite. That's your worst enemy.
How do we tell which knives are sharp or how dull your knives are already at home?
A very good question. Pick up any one of your knives and you want to hold it upside down. You got to be careful about this. Take your thumb, don't put much pressure on it, but literally just rub it across the edge. You'll feel it resisting. It's offering resistance. It's not just floating smoothly over that edge. If your knife was dull, your finger would just glide over it. We're going to be chopping up and slicing some vegetables here that are in common use in everybody's kitchen at home. And I'm going to show you some of the results that a dull knife will give and what a sharp knife will give. So I have a nice tomato here. I'm already trying to put pressure on it and it just cracked the skin. But what happens is it compresses the tomato. It's not going to bite and go clean into it. And I'll show you, for example, this is a sharp knife. I can literally like shave it. And I can feel it as it's going through. There's absolutely no resistance. And we'll get some green onions. It's nice and crisp. Where a dull knife will give you more of a, you can hear the difference already. It's mashing it. Now, one of the biggest, most dangerous things to cut with a dull knife is a pepper. So I'm gonna show you the way I cut a pepper at home. Very simple. I've seen so many ways where they're like taking the core off, they're doing this. That's great, but it's a lot of work. I see a lot of energy being used. It doesn't have to be that way. Put it on its side, remove the stem, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. You could save it for soup stock, stews, whatever you like. In my opinion, you should always slice a pepper with the skin side down, with the meat side up. Because what happens is that skin side is tougher and it's going to offer more resistance on your knife. Now you got that meat side, it's not as resistant. And once you've gone through it and you come in contact with the skin, that knife is already on a determined plane. So you can very easily go in and chop it. That's what a sharp knife will do. It'll work with you. It will not work against you. It'll actually give you the confidence. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'm Tommy the Butcher.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we're Wise Guys Barbecue. Please treat your knives with love and respect, and they will give you back the same. And in no time, you'll be making music at your home. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.